Nalu. I'm from beautiful Maui. Um, and uh, I moved to Phoenix. I moved to Denver in 2024. Um, and it was an awesome summer, a beautiful fall, and then winter hit, and I've never lived anywhere cold. And um, I guess from an amputee perspective, full respect to any amputees who live in icy, snowy weather and have to try to walk on sidewalks. It is not fun, but but yeah. So about halfway through January, I was working remote and I bailed and went to uh, Texas, South Padre Island. It was really beautiful. And then when it got too hot down there, I went back up to Colorado Springs, and then ended up getting a really cool job with prosthetics and orthotics office here in Phoenix. That's kind of doing something really cool that a lot of places should hopefully take on. They have a basically a patient advocate role, and my entire workday is being able to meet amputees sometimes before they even become an amputee in the hospital, um, but mostly right after surgery. And then basically, I'm there to help them eventually get their prosthetic leg if they want one. But also, I get to kind of be a buddy and provide resources and kind of a guide that I was never given when I had an amputation, but I have this plethora of resources and brain because I didn't have anyone, and so I did a lot of research on my own, and now um, you know amputees who don't have anyone, or maybe they do but they just aren't educated in that way, are able to kind of get a get a better foot forward, no pun intended. And then also, it's just a really unique medical job where you kind of see people at their worst, but then you also get to see them, for the most part, literally walking out of the office with their finished, first prosthesis. And it's just really cool. So I they still have a few roles in that position. And then I was unfortunately let go due to funding. So I don't work there anymore, but I've started working for um, Proteer, which they manufacture some, maybe you all know or have a foot or a leg from them. But they're based here in Tempe, as well as obviously their French headquarters in France. And so I got hooked up with them, and I do some trade shows with them, as well as I'm kind of an athlete ambassador for them. So I just look pretty in photos, and then it goes on posters and in brochures and stuff. Um, but it's been really great to kind of have. I'm learning. I've always been a really strict, like, 9 to 5 type of person, and it's been really interesting to navigate the world of, will I have money this month, or will I or will it be an incredible month? And then kind of figure out how to even and balance that out every month. But it's a really nice schedule because my biggest passion is being a paddler. I'm an adaptive paddler with Team Arizona here in Tempe, and we kind of, us, as well as there's a outrigger club in Newport, California, called Makapo, and they're kind of Makapo in Hawaiian means dark eye, or when you're referring to someone who's blind, you would say Makapo. And so that's where they started, was with blind athletes, and then it kind of expanded into persons with spinal cord injuries and amputees and further disabilities. And so they kind of had the first. Uh, they started the division of adaptive for outrigger canoe, at least here in the mainland United States. And then their head coach is really good friends with the head coach here in Tempe, and so we started an adaptive paddling club just about when I started paddling with them, because we have, if you're ever in the Phoenix area, Ability 360. If you haven't been, you have to go. It is this huge sports and fitness center, and it's universal design. It's designed for people with disabilities and for accessibility. And what's really unique is, not to like go off on a tangent and pitch them, but what's really unique is they every machine they have, you can either roll up with your wheelchair, or you can put the seat in. So it's just a really unique place, and a lot of Paralympians come here to train. um, and so we ended up partnering with them, our paddling club, Team Arizona, and created an adaptive team. And what's been absolutely incredible is, from when I joined just in like September to now, we've grown so much that we have been able to take two six-man canoes and like race them just the adaptive people. So that means we have at least 12 competitive adaptive paddlers now on our team. And it's growing at a rate none of us expected, and it's just really really incredible, because if you've ever been on the water, whether it's kayaking or um, I don't know, wakeboarding, or just being on a boat, you kind of the water kind of has a way of, almost like in a positive way, of forgetting that you're disabled. You're kind of out there and you're paddling, and from shore, no one would know any of us were disabled. And then also, it's just having that intense focus that you need in the water. um, all of that just kind of goes away, and you focus on paddling, and it's just a really really beautiful experience. And so yeah, so I've really tried to dedicate as much time as I can to training, and our team ended up beating Makapo's team in every race except one this year. So it's been really awesome, because we're all really good friends, and like half of their team is gonna be part of the six-man crew that's going to Singapore, representing Team USA. So it'll be myself, and two of my Team Arizona teammates, and then three from Makapo. And it's just been a really incredible season, to be able to race against them, but also race with them, as we train for Singapore. And yeah, outrigger canoe is something that I grew up with, and was surrounded by out in Hawaii. It's probably the most popular sport there. I actually never paddled though until I moved to the desert, which is a really funny story, because it just wasn't where I lived on the island. It just didn't make sense to have to like drive down to the ocean, as a kid, when you have siblings and all these other things going on. And so I grew up surfing and getting on like sailboats and windsurfers whenever I could. And so when I moved to Arizona, I thought I just kind of had to give that part of my life up. Um, and then I ended up walking my dogs at the lake one day and I see these outriggers go by and I'm like, "Oh, what are you doing in the middle of the desert? This is the weirdest place to see an ocean canoe." And so then it's just been uh yeah, it's just been amazing to train and now I still can't believe it, but I'm going to Worlds for Team USA in August. So yeah, now my biggest goals I think in life are they're extremely ambitious, but I want to make the Brisbane Paralympics in 2032. And then from there, I kind of want to use my network that I hopefully make and be the first disabled person to cross the Pacific Ocean from California to Hawaii. I don't know if any of you followed Kelsey recently. She crossed in a like she obliterated the world record. And I think she did it in 45 days. But there's still yet to be a disabled person to successfully do it. And that should change. So yeah. That's a little bit about me. Um, and kind of what I do, I guess, day to day. There's a lot. I'm happy to have a conversation if you guys want to. I know a lot about like adapting different sports, as well as like if you want to know anything about my story, my amputation story, or anything, happy to share that as well. Or
Kim, fire,
anything.
yeah, fire away.
Yeah, I write for Living with Amplitude. I need to interview you sometime. And I've been to 360
Oh, cool.
because last year Empower Fest was there in September. And
Yeah.
so and that was a really cool place. But how I did not hear how you ended up becoming an amputee and the things you did before when you became an amputee, was it hard to even envision that you would ever do sports again, or how did that work out for you?
Yeah, those are great questions. So I grew up, like I said, like surfing. I also did a lot of swimming, and I was also on the dive team. And so um, being in my 20s, my prefrontal cortex not completely developed. I absolutely loved cliff diving. It was one of my favorite things to do. And so I made this awesome triple backflip off a waterfall, landed it, and then I didn't really account for how quickly freshwater levels change. And so 48 hours after that, I went back to the same jump, did it again. This time, I'm pretty sure it was the the water level, but my foot caught something under the water, and the back of my head ended up hitting a rock under the surface, and I actually ended up walking away from it, and I thought that I might have had just a concussion or something, and I just kind of went home. And then the next morning I wake up and I can't move my neck at all. Like it's not moving. If I try to, it's super, super painful. And so I ended up going to my doctor, and they thought for sure I like slipped a disc or like even possibly fractured my neck. And so they immediately sent me to the hospital, and then I got a cervical MRI, which should just show your cervical spine. And on that MRI, part of my brain stem was in my spinal column. Um, and so uh, I ended up, and this is Maui. It's very, very limited very limited healthcare, and they really didn't know what to do with me. So I flew to Oahu, and this whole time until I get to the mainland, I had a CSF leak as well, and I didn't realize it. And so flying on all these planes was a really bad idea. But yeah, nobody knew anything. So and then I get to Honolulu, and they basically are like, it's not an emergent, like my brainstem being in my spine is not an emergent thing, which I was like, okay, this is like crazy. They're like, yeah, it's you're stable, and it we'll give you stuff for pain and get you scheduled with a surgeon on the mainland who knows how to actually do this. I'm like, okay, I feel comfortable with that. And so I decided brain surgery is kind of a terrifying phrase. And so I decided that I would put my truck on a boat, um, and see like a lot of the really cool parts of the Western United States that I'd never seen, and then get to my doctor in New York. And so while my truck was on a boat, um, the shutdown happened. Everything started shutting down, and I couldn't do anything except continue to go because I needed surgery, and also my truck was on a boat, so there wasn't really any way of backing out of that. Um, so I get like the last flight to San Diego from Maui before Maui completely shut down, and I get my truck. I try to attempt to go see the Grand Canyon. Yep, they closed nature. Everything was closed. So that didn't work out. And then I just kind of booked it to New York after that, and like begged a couple hotels to let me stay because they just like everyone was like, you will die if you have human contact with another person. And so I get there, I quarantine at my really good family friend's house in their like she shed outside, and then eventually I'm like in the house, and then my surgery was supposed to be in just a couple weeks, and then it ended up uh I ended up being in the neuro ICU for almost 4 months, completely isolated, because they wanted to keep me stable and wanted me to like be safe and like away from any type of exposure. And and then they finally got the green light to do my surgery. And so in June of 2020, I had brain surgery, and basically the doctors and they don't really know what happened, but after my brain surgery, my right leg, most of the circulation and blood flow was cut off. And so my leg was just super, super painful. And it also lost a lot of function. Um, and it just progressively got worse and was swelling and was dark purple for a long time. And I was getting scans, and they couldn't see anything wrong, and blood work, and that was fine. And eventually, I couldn't. Not only could I not do anything I love to do, sports wise or otherwise, I couldn't really even take care of myself. Taking a shower was extremely painful. Even like a blanket or like a sheet on my leg was really, really painful. Um, and so I asked if I could get an amputation, and pretty much every doctor just like looked at me and thought I was completely insane, and refused to do an amputation, because I'm in my 20s and I'm young and fit looking, and they just all thought I was going to completely ruin my life. Even though I'm the type of person that if you give me a 0.5% chance, I'm going to take that as, oh, I can go do it. And so I knew that if I did have my leg amputated, it would be really, really hard to be able to do the things I love, but I also knew that that would actually be a possibility again. And so, another wild part about me, uh, withdrew $6,000 from my savings account. I drove to Mexico and got my leg amputated. And it was the absolute best decision I could have ever made in life because if any of you have chronic pain, you know how much you would, if you could just have it go away the next day, you probably would, because it is not a fun experience. It's one of, I think, the worst things a human can go through. And yeah, I didn't have chronic pain. Every single picture of me in the hospital is a huge smile, and one that I hadn't seen in a very long time. And now I'm looking back at them, and it's just kind of a little funny because all of the pictures of me with one leg, it's just like this beaming smile. But yeah, so it's been a wild 2020s, but it's I think it's starting to go the right direction now. So yeah,
Uh, that's an incredible story. Um, so okay, so how did you then like find doctors in Mexico and all that? Like,
yeah. So there's a lot of medical like hospitality doctors, and there's a lot for like specifically for cancer or autoimmune, chronic pain. And so I had reached out to a few clinics that specialized in chronic pain and basically just explained my situation, had a lot of like video calls back and forth. And it was the first time I'd ever, like, none of the doctors in the US ever told me anything about complex regional pain syndrome. And at least the doctors I've run into in the US, when I say that, they think it's all fooky and don't like actually listen. And so I researched that more and actually started talking to this after, well, this was after my amputation, but this guy who also had complex regional pain syndrome and got his leg amputated, and is just living such an extraordinary life now. And yeah, and we had, I mean, it was all extremely professional. We had like, I think I was there like for 2 weeks before I had my leg amputated. Just kind of going over everything, making sure I understood, like, no pressure situation, just making sure I understood what was happening. And they did, most of the tests they did in the US and all of that. But they also did like some really good, like, psychology evaluations and that kind of thing. So yeah. I'm so sorry,
crazy.
my pug is so loud right now. But it's like,
I can't hear it.
oh,
So your
okay.
microphone, yeah, your microphone and the Zoom machine and everything is doing great. Yeah, you are. You're good. You're good.
Show
Perfect.
us the pug. Show us the pug.
Oh,
Oh,
Oh my,
He's
yeah.
snoring. Oh, wait, there we go.
Yeah.
That's his sister.
Okay.
Oh, she doesn't even come up because she's just a white blob. There we go. She's asleep too.
so how far up did they have to take your leg?
So, wait, how do I? Sorry, I'm like now I can't see you guys. Okay, there we go. Um, just above the knee. Um, so my
another pug. Sorry, go on.
what? Oh, oh my gosh, that underbite is amazing.
We rescued two. They came as a pair. They were a bonded pair. Now we have two of these. Look, ketchup. They're ketchup and mustard. And
Oh,
yeah, this is ketchup, and she's got a
This
cute little underbite.
this
oh.
is Eggy.
Eggy, look at adorable.
Well, you got to have ketchup and mustard on your eggs, so there you go.
Yeah.
Whoa, whoa.
Have you ever been talked to about like osseointegration?
So, actually, that's part of the reason I ended up moving originally from Maui to Denver was osseointegration. I wanted to check it out and see if it might be a possibility. Um, a couple things. I'm really, really high impact. And so right now, my doctors just don't think it would be a good idea for me, especially with all the different types of um, bacteria you may encounter in different bodies of water. And so, and I and they really don't recommend like a lot of running with it. And I still want to see if that's something I want to do still. So,
Isn't
um,
there like a newer kind that they do now, and as opposed to just the one that originated? I do know that I was on another meeting the other night, and there was a gentleman who did have osseointegration, and he's in the water all the time. But I understand that could be a risk. I just wondered, what has been the newest technology, or what they've told you, or you know, I'm just curious.
yeah, a few. So I think when I'm a little bit older, I definitely am gonna like dive into it more and look into it, especially because they keep doing advancements with it. So I figure it's kind of a win-win where if I wait like 20 years, it's gonna be like the technology of it is gonna be so much better. Um, and then
Think you're going
also,
to wait 20, maybe 5 or 10 at the most, but I don't think you're gonna, because that is and I'm on a group for the Moveo I was on a group yesterday morning. I'm on a lot of groups. Um, there is more osseo integration going on in the UK and advancement than there is in the US. I thought that was interesting. Uh, because I'm not familiar with what the UK does. And I just heard them say that, and I was like, oh, okay. But osseointegration, I'm hearing more and more about it. So hopefully by the time you're ready, that everything's been advanced and tried out and all that good stuff. So
I'm
tell
just
me more.
Wait, let me chime in real quick. I just wanted
Sure.
to let the whole group know that if you are interested in osseointegration as a topic, our September speaker will be Dr. Daniel Lerman, a local expert,
Heard
who
of
many
him.
group know quite well. Danny's going to come and talk to us about osseointegration in September, so mark
Okay.
your calendars.
woo.
So tell us more about this competition that you're going to. How did you
um,
get signed up for that?
yeah, so basically it's in August. It's called the IVF World Championships or International Va'a Federation. Va'a is the Hawaiian and Tahitian, a lot of different tribal island nations word for canoe. And so uh we're so me and two of my teammates um are going with three from Makapo in California, and um, it's so how I ended up doing it is I am a recovering CrossFit athlete. I used to do CrossFit, and so I'm pretty strong, and I started paddling again just in late October, and my coach after about two weeks of paddling, he's like, "Hey, I know you're really new, but would you ever be interested in going to Worlds this summer in Singapore?" And I'm just like,
Wow.
haha, like you're funny, like um and then we fast forward to like about February. I went to Newport for the first time, and met like the Makapo people and the rest of the aquatic center there, and um, we were there for an adaptive clinic to show and kind of teach other clubs. Coaches came and people from other clubs to show them kind of like, this is a way to help someone with a spinal cord injury, or if they're an amputee, say these things, please don't say these things, like, kind of stuff like that. Um, and so that weekend basically was like, my coach was like, okay, you're going to Singapore. And because so not every nation, but all the nations that are there have one or two um, boats representing and the United States, as in, so Hawaii is separate from the mainland in canoe, as well as surfing and some other water events. And so the mainland needed a team, and we decided we were going to be the first fully adaptive 6-man crew. So every single one of the athletes in our boat has a disability, which has never been done before, which is really, really amazing. And we actually ended up going to Alameda in California for a regatta earlier this year. And we were, all 6 of us who are going to Singapore were in the boat, and we raced all able-bodied people, and we actually won our first heat. And by a decent amount, and it was a really incredible experience, because most of us are from Arizona, for one thing. We don't have the ocean, we don't have the best conditions to simulate an ocean or train to be like the ocean paddlers that we're racing against. And then also we're all adaptive, which was really incredible. And outrigger is just one of those sports where everyone helps everyone and everyone supports everyone. And it was just really cool, because it was almost like a tunnel of people when we were walking back to our tent, of just like people standing up and clapping. And it was a really, really special time. But
So
yeah.
when is the race? When is the race happening? August, you said, or September?
Yeah, August. So we fly out the 14th, and I believe our first race is the 20th or 21st. We are the opening ceremony race, which is really cool and also very nerve-wracking, but it's like um but yeah.
So how you feeling right now about?
I'm just stoked. I'm just really like a lot of doors have opened that I didn't know were even there. And it's just really awesome to be a part of this team. Every single one of my teammates are just the most exceptional people I've ever met, and so it's pretty awesome. But
Wow. And then how to, like, when you mentioned wanting to go to the Paralympic Games, like what's that jump look like?
so in para canoe, they have it's only like single man boats. Um, and the V1, which is the boat that you race in for the Paralympics, is it's really, really tippy. And it's a really big challenge for able-bodied people to be able to stay upright in that boat, um, and not flip it. And so it's definitely a learning curve, for sure. But I the as far as the conditioning go, it's pretty hand in hand. And the timing and the stroke rate and the speed and all of that. It's more just kind of learning the boat.
Yeah.
And yeah, so.
Wow. The Like, how do you practice? Do you ever like practice on your own, or how do you train on your own? As somebody who knows nothing about outrigging canoe other than what I've seen on the television.
Yeah, so we practice as a team at least three to four times a week. in the 6-man canoes on the water. And then besides that, our club has a few like single man that we can take out on the water. You know, we just ask ahead of time, um, and so we have a few V1s, and so that's kind of I do that occasionally, and then I also race stand-up paddle boards, so that's really good cross training because it's mostly the same exact movement. Um, and then I go to Ability and do cart swimming for anaerobic stuff, and then um, the weight area.
Yeah. What was like the rehab like after your amputation until you were able to like jump into all these sports?
So I got my staples out, I think, for at the 4 week mark. And at that point I was back on Maui. Um, and I went to CrossFit that day. So I just took it easier. I just tried to play around with things and figure them out. And I think CrossFit was a huge like part of why I was able to get back so quickly is because if you think about it in CrossFit you're in a box. You're literally in a square and that's your little space and you don't unless you're doing some kind of run thing you don't get out of your square. And so
Mhm.
it's a really amputee friendly because all your little stations, whether you're doing sit-ups or you have to do like push-ups or whatever it is, like they're all right there. Like you don't like maybe you have to hop once or something, and that's it. Um, and that was basically the start of when they created the adaptive division of CrossFit, as well. And so it was kind of cool because social media just had people like Amy Bream on there, and I was watching her, and then I was like, oh, that's a really good adaptation, or oh, that's a easier way to do it. And then also because it's Maui, a lot of older people live on the island, and so our coach already shows modifications, and a lot of the modifications that work for the Golden Masters also work for a new amputee because it's basically you're just keeping your burpee up higher by using a box or things like that. And so um, it was just a way to really explore my my new
Yeah.
life as an amputee and in a really safe and fun environment. So, yeah.
Yeah, crazy. Um, Gosh, I'm like blown away a little bit. This is very cool. Uh,
Man. It's
um,
just-
what's that?
yeah, it's just I think I have a bit of a um I don't know if advantage is the right word, but I think it might be that like, I chose to have my leg amputated.
Yeah,
And I think that really makes a difference in my mindset of like, okay, you did this now, like show us what you got kind of thing. Like, it's like now that you don't have this killer pain on your just in every ounce of your body, like do this, like because you
yeah,
can. Um,
yeah.
so
And what's your community like outside of your team there in Phoenix? Like, do you have a pretty big amputee community or how did you meet them?
yeah, so I uh I got connected with Prodeer, the manufacturer, and they have a Prodeer Amputee Alliance Council, which is basically their amputee group. Um, and so um, between that and then also the occasional like like patient after they weren't my patient anymore, and it was kind of like, okay, you're like my age, you want to go play basketball, or it's like that kind of
Yeah.
thing. And so that was kind of an advantage because I was working with amputees, and then also through Prodeer and just like, whether it's the Amputee Coalition or AOPA or one of Hanger Live, one of their trade shows or something, you just end up meeting other amputees.
Yeah.
But I would say, when I was a first an amputee and I was on Maui, I could count on one hand the other amputees that actually utilize their prosthetics. They're not 75 and plus. And so that was a huge challenge, because I think social media, though, I think for the most part, the amputees that have a lot of followers on social media still actually check their messages and will,
Yeah.
respond when they can. They like everyone I've reached out to has been super nice and like really almost excited to like be able to answer a question, and I feel the same way.
Yeah.
And so I think that, social media was kind of a godsend because I didn't know anyone. I didn't even know like our prosthetics office on Maui isn't there anymore. Like we like so like it's
Yeah.
you have to fly to Oahu, which is insane. And so uh navigating that and not like I knew about the amputation when I was going into it, and I knew like, I'm still gonna like do all these sports and stuff, but I probably should have prepared myself a little bit more with like, oh, there's 8 million different types of prosthetics, and there's, and these are the steps and things, and I didn't really know where to look for any of that, so that was all just kind of figured out on the fly. But
Wow. And how often do you make it back to Hawaii? If at all?
so do I
I said if at all,
oh yeah, um I moved to Phoenix in like really late September, and then I went back to Maui for the holidays, for Christmas, and I try to go at least once a year. I'm always hopeful I can go more, but paddling is kind of taking my life, which is a good thing. But yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Well, I should open up to other questions if Rick or Yuri have some. I don't want to dominate everything here. Or Kim, if Kim has more questions.
Sounds like you've got some amazing things ahead of you.
Yeah, it's been
Congratulations.
thank you. It's been 6 years, but it's getting there now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey guys, it's me. I'm a little bit early, but I had several things I wanted to say, and I wanted to give myself enough time to say them. So first, thank you, Nalu, for sharing your story, and we're all excited to cheer you on next month. Speaking of next month, our guest speaker is a therapist who specializes in psilocybins and the therapies associated with that. And so I think that's going to be a really cool and engaging conversation. I hope you'll join us. It'll be back at our usual time. And then, as I mentioned, in September, it'll be Dr. Lerman talking to us about osseointegration. So lots of cool topics on the horizon. The way that I come up with these topics is through the annual survey that I send to everyone, and you tell me these are the things I want to hear about, which I cannot do if you don't fill out the survey. So just a reminder to please do that. Only one person has, so that person's about to have all their dreams come true. But if you could take a minute to fill it out, if you could remind all your friends who are in the group that aren't here tonight to fill it out, that's really helpful information. And it also helps us to like share information with our funders and our board to be able to keep programs like this going. So I would appreciate if everyone could take a minute to do that. I wanted to let you all know also that LPF has launched our podcast. So in the past, we've done a series of webinars, and we are slowly but surely getting with the times and are now doing a monthly podcast instead. It is called the Limb Strong podcast, available at any podcastery that you enjoy. So your Spotify, your Apple, wherever. The first 3 episodes are out now, and it will be monthly after that. Lots of cool topics. So I highly encourage you to check it out, spread the word, etc. And then finally, I wanted to let you all know that if you are local to Denver, which I think is just Yuri tonight, but we will be at Denver's Disability Pride Festival this Sunday at the Clifford Still Museum from 10:30 to 12:30. It's a really cool event outside of the fact that I will be there. It's a cool event. So if you are local, we encourage you to swing on by. And if you are not local, we encourage you to check out any Disability Pride celebrations that may be going on in your area.
When is it again?
Um, when is our festival? It's this Sunday from 10:30 to 12:30.
I'm going to tell a couple of my friends that are
Sweet.
over there. Yeah.
Great.
Laura,
Well, yeah,
did
Kim.
you say the name of the podcast is The Limb Strong, or is that what you said, or just Limb Strong?
Limb, limb, which I always pronounce with an aggressive B, limb strong.
Okay.
I can put the link in my follow-up email that I send tomorrow, and y'all can check that out and
I'll probably have it looked up
hear
here after.
more of my voice.
Yeah. Well, I'm
Cool.
glad you're doing the podcast. I will add you got your podcast to my podcast list. You know, I have that long list. It's growing longer and longer. I'm trying to create a website eventually, and somebody's helping me to get that started where it's just an information page for all the amputees because I have this whole typed up list that I send to anybody that wants it that is new or just wants to know because it was only 2 years ago at the Amputee Coalition that I found out that there was even Zoom groups. I went for 13 years without any contact, with anyone. So I'm glad that people are doing these things.
Yeah, and we always appreciate your support, Kim. You've always got our back, and we appreciate it.
Well, I always have your back. So
So on that note, thank you again to Nalu. Thank you everyone who was able to make it at an unusual time, and I hope to see everyone and more back again in August. Have a great night.
Thank
good
you.
Thank
night.
you.
Hi,
Thank everyone.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.